to see you all being here today. Thank you so much, Global Changemakers, for giving me this opportunity to pay it forward. So, for any of you joining today's webinar, I just want you to know the Global Changemakers were the only one that supported this idea of EnRoute and what I'm going to talk about you today for half an hour to become reality. So, great shout out to them. And thank you so much for this international community that has been following this webinar. I hope that by taking this chance, you're going to become a climate hero. So as you can see by today's, I can say, title, we are focusing on climate change, but with a little twist. For years and decades, we focused on what governments can do, should do, must do. But today, we are taking up to take a look what we can do as individuals and powerful human beings to make today kind of better than yesterday and to make tomorrow better than today when it comes to climate change, when it comes to keeping care of our climate. So that being said, let's get into it. Now, before we go into introductions and all the details about who I am and why you should be listening to this topic, I want to start off with a little introduction quiz just to get things around in your head. So, by definition of an average person, and by average person here, I mean someone who is using 3 or 4 hours of vehicles each day or has like a plane trip or something like that. Imagine these times after the COVID. So, what helps more CO2 emissions? The first one is using solar panels, and the second one is riding a bike. Now, using solar panels, I mean using just solar panels and electricity for a day, and riding a bike, I mean switching all your transportation for the day by just riding a bike. Think a bit first. Okay, so if you went out and said, yes, it's the solar panels, definitely, you know how expensive they are, they're definitely saving so much more CO2 emissions than just riding a bike. Don't worry, 95% of the people who have interviewed, and that's around 3,000 people, said the same. I have to disappoint you, it's wrong. So eventually, riding a bike for a day and turning all those 3 or 4 hours of transport by different vehicles into a bike saves more CO2 emission than installing those grandiose solar panels. Yeah, saving CO2 emissions can be pretty cheap. Okay, don't lose hope. Next one. What saves more CO2 emissions for the same definition of average person? Is it buying an electric car, maybe some fancy Tesla, not sponsored, or just shopping at a thrift shop, switching your shopping instead of a fancy store in a shopping mall for a thrift shop that is local? Think about it. Yes, Tesla is kind of good, but thrift shops really saves you more because when you shop at a thrift store, you're actually not producing anything because that clothing has already been produced, has already been used, and now you're just giving a second life to it. Isn't it wonderful? Okay, last question, and I think you got the point now. What saves more CO2 emissions for the same definition of average person? Is it using the smart thermostat that actually is produced to like be more eco-friendly, or just switching off lights when there is a sun outside, or exactly when you don't need them? Easy one, right? Yeah, it's definitely just switching off the electricity instead of using even more electricity with the smart thermostat. Now, before we proceed, I just want to clarify that by any means, I don't foresee the solar panels, the electric car, the thermostat are not worth it. These are all incredible technological innovations, which every day they're bringing up some great change. But just if we look on the definition of an average person by day, they're saving the same CO2 emissions as those small things. And as you can see, the solar panels, the smart thermostat, and your electric car are all so much expensive that thousands of people, including me and my household, are not able to afford it. But that doesn't mean that we are not able to make a change with all the small things we are able to do per day. That's why I'm here, and that's why I want to talk about. And before we proceed, just want to say sorry for just finding you as the average person. Since you're here listening to this webinar by GCM, definitely you are more an average person. You're a change maker. Okay, so who am I and why you're listening to me? My name is Busheska. I'm a 19-year-old girl from North Macedonia, soon moving up to the US for studies. So I go by a short bio of optimist, student, and life changer. So I'm an optimist because I always tend to look at the bright side of life, not because it is easier or because I want to dream. I want that. But optimism gives me really to find results for something that is happening. That's why I always tend to look on the bright side, because there is the place where all solutions are coming in. I'm a student, I'm a lifelong learner, trying to learn by every situation I'm in my life. And I think that's the only situation that brings us new solutions, that brings us a better tomorrow and life changer. Not only I try to make a better change in my life day by day, but also I try to make this planet a better place. So for that honor, I founded EnRoute, which is a nonprofit organization helping people to reduce CO2 emissions by their means, by their transport and shopping activities. We're currently building an application. There's a demo out there, which I'll talk about it later, that we're also building a strong community. And when we're talking about community, I'm a proud global changemakers GCM forever, which I'm here because if I have discovered anything, I've realized that any issue and any solution would not be realized without strong community. And I was glad to have it by global changemakers. Now, also, I am talking too much about saving CO2 emissions on day-to-day scale, but I'm also really interested in keeping governments accountable. That's why I'm a regional coordinator at POI16, which is I would say, the largest abstentional youth gathering. And I build communities with global citizen here. Now, if we talk about achievements, which I don't really like, because there's something that is temporary, while our work and our passion is something that is ongoing and constant. EnRoute won the Social Impact Award of 2020, and also we were introduced like the opportunity that's 30 under 30 change makers. So enough about me, and let's get started into the costs. So I want you to pack your trips and go to Skopje, North Macedonia. I know you can be in quarantine, but just imagine your mind wandering. Now, what you can see here on the left side is Skopje, North Macedonia. It's a very beautiful city with lots of lights. People are so optimistic. It has amazing food, and it has this enthusiastic spirit of the city. And I know I may sound like a tourist agent trying to persuade you to come. And well, I really love you to come. That's not the real reason why I'm telling you about. Just look again at the picture on the left, because you have to remember that. Because that is Skopje in the summer. An amazing city. Shocking, right? And the other side is Skopje in the winter. And I can promise you the city is there, but we cannot see it due to the terrible smoke. Okay, so each winter, this is Skopje. It is covered by smoke. It is covered by so thick air pollution that if you're just raising up your hand in front of you, like I did now, you're not able to see it because the smoke is so thick. Nothing gets through it. And there was a story that my grandmother and grandfather were telling me that in the past, Skopje had a really huge earthquake and everything was destroyed. And really people that were staying there thought that there was no tomorrow for the city because everything was made of dust. But with the help of international agencies, countries, Skopje managed to rebuild stronger than ever. But apparently, for half of the year, we are not able to see it, what has been rebuilt over the years. And I know seeing all these stories, it feels shocking that somewhere this exists and someone as me is living it. And it is not just like, when you're living in this situation, everything is filled up with toxicity and negativity. But Skopje, apart from bringing the negativity out in the air, it gets life. My aunt died due to air pollution, and 4,000 people, brothers and sisters of mine, are dying each year due to this air pollution. This is something that is ongoing for years and years, and nobody has taken real action to stop it. And now when you're hearing all these stories, I know what's in your mind. Like, who is causing this? What's the cause behind it? I thought the same question. So 2 years ago, I was going to Skopje for a Olympics mathematics training. And even though I was so excited that I finally surpassed after thousands of exams I had to that training, it was so bad because I'm an optimistic and enthusiastic person. And you couldn't breathe, and you could not be enthusiastic and you can't breathe. And the only thing I had then was just my aunt, who I haven't visited for such a long time due to school and all activities. And when I thought that this will finally be months with her together, she felt in like very hard position. She had a blood vessel, and due to the dense air pollution, she passed off. And that was the time when I had 360 degrees change in my perspective. Who is doing this? Who is the reason why this air pollution is taking places? As you can see on the left side down here, we are topping the list each year by the most polluted city of the world. And if you compare us with the other cities like Kolkata, Dhaka, Mumbai, you can foresee something that is very common for all these cities, and that is overpopulation. These cities have an increasingly great amount of people. But that is not the cause for Skopje. Honestly, because of the bad economic situation, more and more people going out of Skopje for a better life. So Skopje is not dealing with overpopulation, but on the other side, with immigration. Now you will say, probably there's factories around there, you know. Yes, there are factories, but there are strong rules for the factories out there. And plus, it is not something so much in common. As I said, our economic situation is not that good. And as a result, we don't have so great amount of factories. Now you will probably say maybe it's the waste of landfills. You're wrong again, because Macedonia as a country has thousands of wild landfills, and the only one that's regulated is exactly Skopje. So no, that's not the cause. Then what is it? Who killed my aunt? Who is killing these 4,000 people each year? Do you want to hear the results? Because I didn't. Me, I killed my aunt. You, all of us. The greatest cause for the pollution in the city, believe it or not, is the transport. Is the transport by the vehicles like mine, like yours. So you see, it is not nor the factories nor the landfills. What's the transport? These are everyday choice that killed my aunt and kills 4,000 of pounds across the city. And if you take a look at the position of the city, not only because we're now in pandemic, but nobody's using the public transport, and all of the people are rushing everywhere with their own personal cars. What is harder is that we are not a part of the European Union. And as a result of that, people are allowed to use old cars, which are not having this environmental standard. And that causes thousands of PM particles and CO2 emissions. The next greatest cause is shopping. And now you're saying that, yeah, how can shopping be? You know, you buy things from shopping center and that causing pollution? Well, directly no, but indirectly yes. That keeps factories keep on producing so many clothes. That keeps waste going on and on. So shopping is the greatest second cause of the air pollution. And the third one is the natural position. And by natural position, I mean that Skopje is located by the two greatest mountains of our country. And everything that is created inside the city stays in it because it cannot go out. These mountains block the path. But you know what the scientists are saying? If you're not producing so many smog, the smog would eventually go out. So we are producing it for the first cause. And then comes the mountains. So it's not the mountains that are wrong for this whole situation. It is us, it's Skopje citizens and our perfect, complete inaction. Now, I was thinking a lot about this after I lost my aunt and tried to live more sustainably friendly. I did everything. I just swapped off buying local food. I just cut off all my transport by cars. But if only cleaning the air was such an easy task for one person to do. And then I tried talking with a lot of people and asking them, what is the cause? Why is they not taking actions? People are dying and we can be next. And all I've heard was that being sustainable is very expensive, very long. But you know what hit me hardest? The stigma. The stigma and the belief that I, as an individual, now I'm not worthy to take any action. But look at the pandemic, right? It is the greatest apocalypse that we have ever survived. And yet we're all fighting a year long with just a piece of clothing, a mask, a simple mask. And that was where it hit me. As our mask saves lives, we know that our reduced carbon footprint can too. And for that honor, I have created EnRoute to tackle climate change within our daily activities and to harness the power of everyday actions for big changes. Now with EnRoute, one thing that we have seen is to travel with the least CO2 emissions. Yes, so people are trying to travel with the things that are more accessible to them, not thinking about what can happen if we change something, because they don't really think about all the possibilities that we have when you're hurrying up. So that's why with EnRoute, this is just a prototype of the application. But EnRoute works in that way that you're able to enter all your activities in your own preferences. So it's your comfort zone. You enter the time, you enter the place, you enter by means of transport you want to go. And after that, it gives you a combination with the least CO2 emissions that has been tailored by you. And most importantly, it tells you, as you can see, by green, you're doing great. This is a great job and you're a climate hero. And then when you see a red activity, oh, that is a warning. Come on, bro, you can do better than this. And when you're seeing cold this day, like when you're seeing your screen time on your mobile phone, when you see you have spent 18 hours on your mobile phone, it's shocking and you're always taking action. EnRoute is doing the same for CO2 emissions. When you see that you are responsible for the death of some person, well, you're going to act differently because that is pure psychology. We humans are good human beings. We act because we don't know what's our impact. And that's why EnRoute brings up. Let me explain how it works with the transport. So this is a day, most of the time, normal day of anyone who's living in Skopje. So you have a job, you leave the house for your job. After that, you come back home, then you go to buy groceries, then you come back home, then you probably get to the gym or you have some other job to be finished, then you come back home. And Planter doesn't really care about what you have done. You have surpassed around 6 travelings with car, like 6 times CO2 emissions. And let me tell you how EnRoute can change that. So EnRoute gives you a combination that basically keeps you doing everything in your own manner with your own price. But just you're going from home to a certain place. And instead of going back to work, you will just go straight up to buy groceries. You're saving your money because you're not using petrol to them. You're saving your time because you're going from work to groceries and you're saving CO2 emissions. After that, instead of going to the gym, you can just walk off. You know, if you have even good weather outside, you can call some friends after COVID finally ending, and you can just have a great conversation. You can just walk more and save your gym membership money and save CO2 emissions. So you have done exactly the same activities to your work, your professional life, to your body, to your family, and you have 3 times less saved CO2 emissions. That is the power when you harness small daily activities. Let me tell you another scenario. So on the left side, we also have the same activities that we're going on and beyond. And on the right side, we have even better situation. So instead of taking your car or like have taxi, walking to the bus station, taking a bus. And after that, taking a bus and walking to the bus station. Now you have cost 0 CO2 emissions and you have done exactly the same. And since bus tickets are so much cheaper than petrol, you have saved so much money that you can use for some other causes rather than just paying petrol for your car. See, that is the power that EnRoute can bring. That is the power that we all can bring if we just are conscious of what we're doing with our daily activities. I know it's shocking, but we have done thousands of 3,000 to be exact. We have made 3,000 experiments. And we have foreseen that one person can save up to 10 kilograms CO2 emissions. Now, different of the things we have, people that can save up to 100 or 5, but on the average, it's around 10 kilograms CO2 emissions. By how? By just switching it. If you're going to groceries after work, you can go to groceries before work. And that's it. So simple and yet so powerful. The next thing that we're addressing is shopping sustainable and organic products. So it is a crazy time out there, and you really don't know what we are buying each day. So EnRoute helps you to check whether your product is sustainable or organic on the spot. Because if you know what you're buying, then you agree to buy your money for the cost. Because you know, when you're buying a property or when you're buying a car, you're just researching everything because you're investing it. And even though the money of a bread isn't the same as money of a car, it's the same thing. You're investing it as someone there is making your own business. So you deserve to know what you're investing in. And if you ask me, like, what is the problem? What is the problem? There's a huge problem, especially with fast fashion. Imagine you bought jeans like a month ago, let's say, and you'll say, oh, not big deal. Well, that you're not big deal is 10,000 liters of water for just one pair of jeans for production. And by buying those same pair of jeans, it is the same as you have driven 6,000 miles. The CO2 emissions that are produced by 6,000 miles. So maybe you will say that you're an eco-friendly person, not buying anywhere, but buying like 12 pairs of jeans per year. It's shocking that is what fast fashion is causing us. Okay, let's say you're not buying so many jeans. What about a cotton t-shirt for $5? Well, that costs us 5,000 liters of water and 200 years to decompose. What's more shocking is that fast fashion is a huge industry where all of these retail workers are underpaid and are not respected with their own values and dignity. So that is what you're supporting with your money. So you can carbon offset all your travelings and buying fast fashion on the other side brings to this. So that is why we at EnRoute we advocate for all those things because we have the demand to know what we are using our money for and what we are voting for and not to be greenwashed. And when I'm talking about greenwashing and we're talking about voting, so we have elections, right? And we know who we vote for because that person is basically going to represent us and is going to be, I don't know, having a strong impact on our lives because of the country we live in. Well, the brands kind of rates the same. Imagine you really want to be an eco-friendly person and you decide to buy even more expensive things just to buy something that is green or something that is telling you that is green. Because with greenwashing, companies are just doing the greatest PR, selling you green advertisements on Facebook, Instagram, and all the stuff. But eventually, they have not changed anything yet. So that's why, if you can see our application, we give you the link to all of these details where we came from. Because what I have seen while doing all the discoveries is that companies who are not promoting what they are using for, companies who are not telling what they're using for, most of the time they are the companies that are greenwashing. Most of the time, those are companies who are not taking any sustainability practices, and everything that they're writing is just writing for Instagram. And the same goes on with chemicals. We are bound with organic cosmetics, organic food, everything is organic, but we demand to know what is there in our food, what is there in our cosmetics, because we are paying for that. And eventually, with food and cosmetics, it's no more than sustainability. It is eventually how our body, our skin will react to that, how our organs will react to that. So that is why we have to know what we are paying for. And as I said, we have the stigma to pay even more money for something that is more sustainable. And at the end of the day, it turns out to be greenwashing. So the next part that we are currently developing in EnRoute is the EnRoute online shop. Now, according to me, this is not something that I truly love, but I have this logic. So EnRoute online shop gives you a point for every action you have been done, and you get back on your investments. It's like you are studying, you get an A, you get a job. So you are saving CO2 emissions, you get a produce. That is something that I really want to use because people will anyway buy that juice and will maybe get it by a simple giveaway on Instagram, which really does not cause any good in life, people, especially when we're talking about environmental friendly. But when those same persons save some CO2 emissions for that coffee, again, it's something good that is done. So even though maybe we don't have the same way of thinking with that person, the impact is done. So we have both saved CO2 emissions. And that is maybe the kind of thinking that we have to start for going on, even if it is for an external motivation. As long as it works, it goes. That's why we are trying to practice this routine in EnRoute. And I can say that, as I mentioned in the beginning, we're not just NAP because sustainable things and things for making something for planet Earth does not really start with just one person. It takes community, it takes so many people to build something that is very strong. And I was lucky to be in global Changemakers, and as I said, contact 3,000 members in 15 plus countries to join this community. Because when you have community to rely on, we're not a business and we cannot promote and market each other. We have to have people who strongly believe in what we are saying, who strongly believe in our mission and our vision, because in that way together we are stronger. And I'm proud to say that all these people went on and beyond to do what EnRoute is today. And the best thing that you are able to be a part of this great community. And since I started this work as an advocate and as a founder in a non-profit organization, I have received this question 1,000 times. Does it really matter? Does it really matter if I am doing this? Do I really have some kind of an impact? Listen to my analogy. As I have said with EnRoute, but also with other practices, you're able to save at least, this is the minimum thing that we have discovered, 10 kilograms CO2 emissions each day. For a year, we can save around 4,000 kilograms CO2 emissions. Now, when my aunt died, there was a concentration of over 3,000 kilograms of CO2 emissions in the air. Which means that if you were working just with these small activities to reduce a small amount of CO2 emissions per day, that means that the air would have 3,000 kilograms CO2 emissions more. Sorry, 3,000 kilograms CO2 emissions less if you have worked. It had more because nobody has worked to do it. And that means that if the air didn't have those CO2 emissions, if you've saved them, you could save her. Can you see the logic here? That just one person working to reduce 10 kilograms CO2 emission is powerful to save a human being? Imagine what we all can do here. If all of us just save 10 kilograms CO2 emissions, we cannot save only all Skopje, we can save those 7 million people who are dying from air pollution all over the world. We're just one human being, but see the harm we are making each day. We are basically killing people without knowing. And the harm is being done. But now we can take this action to save these people. You can see how powerful we can be each and every day with just those minor steps. And those minor steps last for just 5 to 10 minutes. It's the same time you scroll through Instagram. It's the same time you say, oh my God, I'm not good enough, or I'm God, I'm perfect. It's the same time as just you're saying, oh, what I should do now. It's the same time looking in the mirror and seeing if your hair is good, if your makeup is good. That time, we can be heroes. We can save the planet. And now you're asking how? Well, if you liked what I have told you, what we are trying to do at EnRoute, and how it is impactful to the community, to the world itself, we have two ways, I would say, of our mission. This EnRoute site, which is a web application that is now fully working on calculating what you're doing with your transport activities. And also we have analyzed 30 brands and what's there behind. So you can try to see what you're doing with your, I would say, day-to-day activities. And also you're able to see what's there behind your favorite brand. And if your favorite brand isn't there, shoot me a message. I will say all the emails after that. It is so powerful to know that if your brand isn't on the list of sustainable practices, then it's time to wave goodbye and make it not be your favorite anymore. On the other side, we also have an EnRoute application. Now, the EnRoute side, the web application, is more functional than the EnRoute application. But if you're able to use any of this and say your feedback, that will help us to grow and more. And all this impact that I've showed you, saving people, that will grow. Just if you're trying to use it and say what works, what don't. Now, if you want to be also the voice of, how can I say, the voice of CO2 reduction in your community, you're able to become an ambassador. We have over 50 in around 15 plus countries, but also if your country is even represented, you're able to become a co-ambassador or just represent a smaller city or a school. Here is the email, just shoot us an email there and we'll be more than glad to accompany you to your role and to send you all the information you need to become a climate hero. And I know you are already because you have listened to me for more than 29 minutes about talking about CO2 emissions. So come to this family. And the last project that we are working on is Ask Sustainably. So since I started this project, so many people tried to ask, what CO2 emissions I can save with buying less clothes, or how can I buy less clothes with traveling, or how can I know is this food really more ecological? So all of these things, life spheres in schools, on food, on clothes, we are answering them in a big database. And it's not just me or Andrew team. It is experts from all of these different things. So you're able to shoot us a question. The questionnaire can be found in our Instagram's link in bio, which I will showcase after that. Or as I said, remember this email and write any question that you would like. We're more than glad to have it answered. Because imagine you're answering this question, but thousands of people are reading. See what impact you can make with just one question you have asked. Well, before I close off my webinar, before I close off this incredible conversation that we had, I just want to remind you that the planet Earth has a deadline. And if you're seeing this after, which you probably would, after the date of the shooting, this deadline would be even smaller. That means that in 7 years, we'll face great catastrophes. And if you just look around, the catastrophes are already there. Texas has froze. California has wildfires. Brazil has wildfires. Australia has wildfires. These are all things that are just starting to be there because of climate change. And really, people, we don't want another quarantine. We have seen what are the effects of not being able to go out. But I just want you to warn you that in COVID-19, if you wear a mask right now, that means you're safe. But in climate change, if you try to reduce CO2 emissions, while there are wildfires over there, I don't think it's going to work. That's why we have to take action upfront. Thank you so much for being here through this webinar, and I hope that I gave you enough practices to be a climate hero. I invite you all to join our mission of EnRoute, and let's write history together. Let's write CO2 emissions history. The people who saved CO2 emissions, but this time 1 gram at a time. So here you have our Instagram profile, our webpage, and even my personal email, because this is a movement. This is something that has just started, and we need your help to make it go, because it is powerful. It could save lives. It could save my aunt, but that is impossible right now. But it could save thousands of other aunts out there, and that is tremendously good. So that being said, thank you so much for attending this webinar. Thank you so much, GCM, for giving me this incredible opportunity to be here for this half an hour. And if you have any question or want to participate or anything related to EnRoute and more, please contact. More than happy always to answer. Have a wonderful day wherever you are, whenever you're listening to this. And just stay safe and wish you all the best. You're here, you're a climate hero, and keep on shining.